Okay, welcome to Nurses Notes by Almira, the podcast where we have real conversations about healthy habits and making lasting change. I am Almira Hinton. I am a registered nurse and a hypnosis expert here to help you break free from unhealthy patterns and create the life you want. If you ever wondered how hypnosis really works or why some people struggle to see results, you're in the right place. Today, I have a guest on with me on this podcast about ADHD, and this expert is Karen McGee. Today's discussion is titled ADHD and Wellness Transforming Your Mindset for Success. And so today I want to get a little background on Karen so she can share with us and explore strategies and things like that on improving focus, emotional regulation, daily routines, while discussing how subconscious changes, hypnosis, meditation, and mindset shifts can support ADHD management. Welcome, Karen McGee. Please share with us your background and passion for ADHD.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Almira. Thank you so much for having me on this show today. I really appreciate it. As you mentioned, my name is Karen McGee. I'm an RTT hypnotherapist. And just to give a little bit about my background and my journey and how I specialize into ADHD, my daughter has ADHD and was diagnosed when she was about 11 years old or so. And from that time until last year or so, we struggled like many parents of ADHD. And we went through the process of trying to find her the right therapist, psychiatrist. We went through alternative supplements and ADHD coaches. And while all of them helped in some areas, it still felt like we were just throwing everything on the wall to see what stuck.
Mhm.
And about 2 or 3 years ago, I started to get into the field of hypnotherapy. And during that time, I decided to use hypnotherapy on my kid, and we started to see some positive gains. Now my daughter is in a better place, and although she is still on medication, a lot of the emotional issues she faced has dramatically reduced, if not in some areas completely gone away. So when I completed my hypnotherapy certification, I felt like it was just a natural fit to specialize in ADHD because I understand the issues many parents face with ADHD children.
Awesome. Now, before we get into this deep dive about ADHD, we keep using the initials. Tell us what those stand for.
Yes, it stands for attention deficit hyper disorder.
Okay.
It's just
So,
easier to say ADHD.
yeah, it's much easier to say that, but I just wanted to make sure everybody got the same because sometimes we think we know, but we want to make sure we know here. Okay. So, what are some of the biggest misconceptions about ADHD?
No, my God. I've heard everything people have said about ADHD from they're just lazy. It's not a real condition. They just need to try harder. It only affects kids. People with ADHD can focus, so it's not real. The ADHD is overdiagnosed. Everybody has ADHD. Medication is the only solution that will work for kids with or people with ADHD, or it's just not a serious condition. I've heard all of these things, and all of these things, these are not correct statements of ADHD.
I see. So, how does ADHD affect daily habits, including eating, sleeping, and self care?
ADHD can significantly impact the daily habits like your eating, sleeping, and self care due to the challenges with impulse control, executive functions, and emotional regulations. So many individuals with ADHD, they struggle with inconsistent eating patterns such as forgetting to eat or emotionally overeating or craving that quick high energy foods due to the dopamine seeking behaviors that they're looking for. Sleep can be disrupted by the racing thoughts, difficulty down and the irregular sleep schedule, which often leads to the chronic fatigue and the insomnia. And additionally, the self care routines can feel overwhelming or easily forgotten due to task paralysis, time blindness, and difficulty maintaining structure. So these changes can create a cycle of stress and frustration. But with the right strategies and support, individuals with ADHD can develop healthier, more sustainable habits.
So, what are some of the, you mentioned some, but what are some of the most common struggles for people with ADHD when it comes to routines and discipline?
So, people with ADHD often struggle with the routines and disciplines due to the difficulties with executive functioning, time management, and motivation. So, staying consistent with the daily habits can feel overwhelming to them because tasks seem simple to others, like following a morning routine and maintaining organization or sticking to a schedule, but they require a lot of significant mental effort for someone with ADHD. So, time blindness makes it hard to estimate how long things will take,
Mhm.
leading to procrastination or missed deadlines. And additionally, the ADHD brain craves novelty and stimulation, and making repetitive routines just feel boring and difficult to sustain. So, without that external accountability or built in structure, discipline can feel like an uphill battle. And again, with the right strategies, we can ensure that we can create a more sustainable routine. It's a struggle when you have lack of motivation to do something that you're bored to do and do it daily and consistently while at the same time it's mentally draining you.
Yeah, that's really fascinating. So, what lifestyle habits can help manage some of these symptoms?
Yeah, managing ADHD symptoms effectively involve lifestyle habits like that support like the brain function, focus, emotional regulation. Regular exercise is one of the most beneficial habits. It's physical activity helps increase that dopamine and serotonin levels, improving the mood, concentration, and impulse control. You know all too well about a balanced diet rich in proteins and healthy fats and complex carbs can help stabilize the energy levels and support brain function. And prioritizing good quality sleep is crucial, as ADHD makes it difficult to fall and stay asleep. Establishing a calming routine or nighttime routine and maintaining some type of consistent sleep schedule, it can be a game changer. And additionally, mindfulness practices such as meditation, deep breathing, hypnosis, journaling can reduce that stress and that enhanced self awareness in allowing them to just create a structured routine. And of course, using other things like planners, reminders, and breaking tasks into small steps, which I'm a huge advocate of, it can make your daily life just so much more manageable. So there's no one single habit that can cure everything, but it's a combination of these strategies that can significantly improve focus and that emotional regulation and overall well being for individuals with ADHD.
Again, so you pretty much answered my next question, which was about the strategies for no, for to regulate emotions. But you hit on a topic that my audience is very dear to my heart, and that's to keep moving because exercise is so healthy for the body and as well as the mind. And when we have a habit of not exercising or we get into those stories, which I always talk about to my audience too, about why you can't exercise today because you have this habit and you need to make that change or undo that habit, undo that story so you can do for what's good for the body. And so, can you dive a little bit deeper on what role nutrition plays in ADHD management?
Again, if you're eating, you feel right. Garbage in is garbage out. But if you're eating bad food, high processed foods, high sugary foods, you're gonna get that initial spike and then you're gonna go real low because now you're trying to figure out how do I keep up when I'm so exhausted and tired. Then you're irritable and you're moody because of all of these things, because of how the bad food affects you long term and immediately, right?
Mhm.
Nutrition is so key. Again, is it the sole thing? No, but it is a very effective thing if done right and used with the right type of food and with exercise. It can be a game changer. It can really help with those symptoms that people
Yeah.
feel.
Yeah, could definitely a game changer. We talk a lot about eating healthy, and exactly for me, when I chat with people, it's about what does that look like? That looks like fruits and vegetables, and if you're meat eater, chicken, fish, turkey, all those kinds of things that isn't coming out of a bag. So staying away from the chips and the dips and the cookies, and just about anything with white flour because
Yeah.
it's been so over processed, so stripped of all its nutrition that it's only left with those quick carbs that go in quickly and make you fall quickly and make you feel so bad. And they just don't nourish the body. They don't nourish, it doesn't nourish growth and development at all. That healthy part, the fruits and the vegetables and the lean meats are just so important for just life in general. But and the next part, have you seen, as you mentioned before, could you expand a bit about how meditation, hypnosis, or just mindfulness helps with managing ADHD?
Yeah, at the end of the day, when you are at a place where you are practicing mindfulness techniques, you're finding ways to calm that a lot of that chatter that goes on in the ADHD brain. You're finding ways to improve focus because if you're meditating, your focus is lack of focus, right? You're just trying to get the distractions out of here and just focus on something that keeps those distractions out of here. And even though that sounds a little bit not something that will work, it's so beneficial because you're teaching your brain to quiet, you're teaching your brain to focus, you're teaching your brain to get rid of the external negative loop talks, the things that keep your mind just on a constant going. And it helps increase that self awareness, just allowing individuals to recognize the distractions and then gently refocus their attention. And while in reducing the impulsivity and the stress that's associated with all of that chatter that's going on. So many clients will experience significant improvements in their ability to manage being overwhelmed, being able to stay present, and then going back to creating those healthier habits because you're in a mindset where you want to eat healthy, you want to feel good, you want to think good about yourself. Yes, these things are very helpful, not just short term, but on a very long term basis to managing those symptoms, those ADHD symptoms.
I think you hit on something. You said teaching the brain. When we sit down and do hypnosis, it's you can't usually most people can't plop down and do a 15 or 20 minutes. It is building that muscle. It may be just 5 minutes. You might sit for 20 minutes, but you may be only first time, maybe only to sit and focus for 2 minutes. But then in a few days, you might build that up to 5 minutes. It is teaching, it is building that muscle to quiet the mind. Because I've heard that so many times. Oh, I can't get my mind quiet. No, not at the beginning. But as we sit down and get that discipline, that commitment to taking that time to put that work in and then forgiving yourself. Okay, I got 2 minutes in. Next time I'm going to really think and focus for 2.5 or 3 minutes. You might sit quietly for 15, but you were maybe only able to quiet that mind for 2.5. And that's fine. That's the starting point. That's what the emphasis that we make. We all got to start somewhere. We all got to start somewhere.
And the biggest key is, I think, I tell a lot of my clients, try multiple things. Try to see what works for you. Try different forms of meditation. There's home meditation, there's mindfulness meditation, there's frequency meditation. There's so many different forms of meditation. Breathing, try different forms of breathing meditation because y- what works for one may not work for the other, but you will find your rhythm if you just keep trying different ones and you will see which sometimes you can't do mindfulness, but you can do breathing. And breathing is just the same because it keeps those thoughts out because you're focusing on your breath and that's all you're focusing on in that moment. And that's a game changer. It helps. It really does.
So I did a walking meditation one time, and of course, I was in a safe space, so I didn't really have to pay attention to where I wasn't tripping over anything. But it was like in a gym, and it was just walking from one wall to the other wall, back and forth for probably 20 minutes. And you float a little bit and then you pull your mind back in and you float a little, but a walking meditation, because that solves 2 things. You're getting a little bit of exercise in and you're strengthening that muscle in the brain too. So that kind of also leads into the next question was, how can people with ADHD work with their brains instead of against them?
Yeah. So working with your brain is the same. It's the same concept. You want to go back to build, you want to build habits that help your brain with focus and help your brain with that structure, creating some external accountability. You want to help your brain get that level of dopamine that they see, but in the most positive, effective way for them. Again, the biggest way you can do that is create some form of structure. Try to, if you look at structure, you think I don't like structure, and a lot of people with ADHD don't like structure, but they need the structure. You find ways to make it fun. Psych your brain out by making a challenge out of it. For example, gamify a task or turn it into a challenge or rewarding progress. Tell yourself if you need to study, and you typically need to study for an hour, for 5 minutes, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to hit these books, and I'm going to learn this one piece of concept really inside out for 5 or 10 minutes. And then after that, I'm going to quiz myself to see how much I know. Then I may take a break. It sounds like that will take forever, but really, in reality, you are breaking that task into small, manageable pieces, and you are making progress with each one of those little pieces. Ge- each moment of gamifying it and putting in so much time and taking a break and then doing it again, you are building momentum. And that is the brain loves and then it will love some form of structure
Mm.
as you do that because it gets excited about it. So you just find ways to feel good about what you're trying to accomplish by psyching yourself out in different ways.
Ooh. So what role does self-talk and mindset play in ADHD management?
Oh, man. So self talk and mindset play a crucial role with ADHD management, as they shape how individuals respond to challenges and setbacks. Many people with ADHD develop that negative self perceptions due to past struggles with focus, organization, and consistency. So shifting to a growth mindset where obstacles are seen as opportunities to learn rather than failures can make a significant difference in motivation and self esteem. Practicing positive self talk, such as replacing the phrase, I'm so lazy, with I'm figuring it out, here's how what works for me. It can help reduce that self criticism and build confidence, reframing that ADHD traits as strengths rather than flaws, or it fosters resilience and empowers the individual to find strategies that align with their unique brain as opposed to against it.
Okay.
So that inner dialogue is key.
Oh,
It's
yeah, absolutely. Talking to yourself, be kind. Be
yes.
kind when you're talking to yourself. So, something that you and I both do, and that's the reason why we're here, is
Mhm.
about hypnosis. We utilize hypnosis to reprogram. We talk about the brain a lot, which is the physical thing that we all know that's sitting up here. But when we're talking about the mind or the unconscious mind, those are concepts that we know that exist. So how does hypnosis, how do you use hypnosis to reprogram subconscious habits for better focus and for that discipline?
Yeah. Hypnosis, like you said, can be powerful tool. It's a powerful tool for reprogramming the subconscious, the habits, and to improve focus and discipline, especially for people with ADHD. And since many of the struggles with attention and self regulation stem from deeply ingrained thought patterns
Mm.
and automatic responses, hypnosis works by accessing the subconscious mind to shift those patterns at their core.
Mm.
Through guided relaxation and meditations and suggestions, hypnosis can reduce that distraction and increase that motivation and reinforce those positive habits in a way that feels natural and effortless. And it can also address those emotional blocks, such as that self doubt or anxiety that often interfere with our consistency to follow through with things. So, by aligning the subconscious mind with the desired behavior, hypnosis provides a supportive long term strategy for enhancing focus and self discipline and erasing those core beliefs that are holding you back.
That's just so true. Getting to the root is such thing because I've talked about this to my audience, and because there's a lot of talk about all these different drugs that people use for weight loss, and they're wonderful and they work, and so many people have lost, but that's the physical aspect. What we really want to get to is that root. Why? Why did we take on this habit, particularly with my population of emotional eating? What what got thrown into the pot there that have us eating more than what we need, more than what we need. We're leaning on food as comfort or something else and getting to the root, figuring out, untying that knot, untying that story really can help release and allow people to function in a much, much better way. So saying that, what tools or apps or techniques do you recommend for improving focus and productivity with ADHD?
Using visual reminder,
Mhm.
timers, or apps can definitely help reinforce the consistency. Breaking tasks into smaller, manageable steps is the biggest thing I always preach and practice with my ADHD clients.
How do you eat an elephant? One bite.
What? Yeah. If you can just break it down as the most smallest minute task and you just keep repeating it over and over before you look up, you have eaten half the elephant and you didn't even realize.
Mhm.
Because it's not about the big picture, it's about the progress you're making with the little changes. Body doubling, working alongside with someone can boost motivation and accountability. And basically, that just means you're having someone stand with you, mirroring you to give you like some accountability. Instead of you drifting off and doing whatever you want to do in your mind, just someone is saying, kind of looking at you like, we got this time to do such, and it kind of keeps you on track. It's a weird technique, but it does work. And again, going back to gamifying. Create challenges that are fun, that help you get that dopamine boost, feel good about yourself. But it's not in a huge picture that you feel overwhelmed. It's a small size little challenge that you feel good about when you make progress with.
And sometimes we don't even realize that when you said that gamify, I gamified unloading the dishwasher. I do. All the small plates, I grab all of it so I can take and one up there so that the move that I make from going to the dishwasher to the shelf is as efficient as possible. And that's what a habit is. It's an efficiency that the brain has learned to so that we don't have to redo things. But I gamify unloading the dishwasher all the time because it's a task that I really don't wanna do, but I gotta do what needs to be done, and I gamify it and kind of race against myself, but I race so that it's not I don't make a big mess because I want it to look good, but I do gamify unloading the dishwasher.
Yeah. And if it's something that you don't like, I often tell my kid a lot of times, rephrase it in something that you could do. You know what I'm saying? For example, like you said, I hate doing the dishes. I hate that. So what I will tell myself, I may not like dishes today, but maybe if I just wash a pot or two, I may be okay with that. And I will just chuck it down and find something that I can do reasonably within that span of time. And then what I notice, oh, I completed that real quick. Okay, let me just jump to something else. Let me
Mhm.
do another. Let me do another. And before I know it, I've done the dishes. And so now I feel good about myself.
Praising yourself for that progress, praising
Yeah.
yourself for those progress, okay. So what advice do you have for parents of kids with ADHD?
Oh, my goodness. This is a tough one because it's very close to my heart. And I just will say this, I know it's tough. And at times it seems like an insurmountable task when you have a kid with ADHD. But the key is if you can just keep providing consistency, keep adding positive praise, keep being patient and understanding that things will work itself out. I know that sounds simple, and at times it may not be the easiest thing to do, but if you can explore those things, you will see gains. But to give you guys a personal experience, my daughter was learning how to drive recently. And again, she has ADHD. And I just, patience is not my thing in driving. It really, with patience, was like really really a big, strong testament. And the way she learned things was different. She was not into consistently driving every single day. Just wasn't her thing. And I thought that was the craziest thing in the world. She would drive a couple of days and then be off for 2 or 3 weeks, maybe a month, come back again and do it again. And I had to realize that I had to get patience. And every time we got in the car, I literally kept giving positive praise. You can do this. You're an amazing driver. You are phenomenal. Set the stage with positive thought. Even if no matter what happened, I kept saying those things. And even though it felt like it was the longest year in my life, but it was what worked for her.
Mm.
And of course, she passed her driver's license with flying colors. And I was shocked because I'm like, oh, wow. But you have to let them find their way. And the best way for us to do that is to have that patience, give that positive praise, let go, let them know we're here for them, but then just keep rinsing and repeating and just being consistent with that. And they will shine, and they will shine beyond our wildest dreams.
Any other tidbits for ADHD for structuring the day to maximize success?
Yeah, structuring the day for success with ADHD involves creating a balance between flexibility and structure while leveraging the brain's natural rhythm. So, starting with a consistent morning routine helps set the tone for the day. Then, while using time blocking or the Pomodoro technique to break things down into smaller, manageable chunks of tasks, then learning how to prioritize the most challenging things or high focus tasks during the peak energy hours and incorporating those movement breaks to prevent that burnout. Using the external tools like the alarms, the visual schedules, task lists, create built-in rewards with those improves that flow through of motivation. And then allowing room for spontaneity while maintaining a key anchor point, such as the meal times and exercise and winding down routines. I think this all helps create a sustainable structure that supports that productivity without feeling restricted.
This sounds like something that we all could use to be really that those disciplines, those habits, those structures to live a healthy, vibrant lifestyle. That's just basics there. So that's really good for everyone. Karen, where can listeners learn more about your work and perhaps find additional support from you?
Yeah. So my website is elevatedbeliefs.com, and I'll help you put the description in there to my website. And
Wonderful.
Elevated Beliefs is all over my social media and YouTube platform. So again, I'll provide that information as well as the name of my podcast as well. That's the quickest way to get to me.
Excellent. Elevatedbeliefs.com. And you're on YouTube also, right?
YouTube, so Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, you name it.
Okay. So they can find you. Great. Wonderful. Thank you so much for all this fabulous information. And if this episode resonated with you, we would love to hear from you. Send me a message or comment anywhere below this video. And of course, share it with someone who you think might benefit from the information, particularly this information that Karen gave about ADHD. And if you're ready to experience hypnosis from Karen McGee, or myself in a whole new way, visit www.thernhealthcoach to book a call with me or to get more information. And we just thank everyone for listening to us. Until next time, take care, stay empowered, and remember, change your story, change your life as it really happens from the inside out. Thank you so much and have a great and amazing day.